Last week in aviation, Boeing and Alaska Airlines are sued. JetBlue's merger with Spirit is dead, and is there a new player in the eVTOL game? Hey, we got a lot to talk about, and I've got less than 10 minutes to talk to you about it. Let's get started. Hi, I'm Micah. I'm a commercial aviation enthusiast who loves talking planes, and in this show, we're going to talk about the top aviation stories from this past week. Buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride. Let's get started. Happy Monday to you. It's Last Week in Aviation. In this edition, we're covering March the 3rd through the 9th. It's episode 3, and I appreciate you listening to me. And guess what? If you've been listening to our last few episodes, we've started off with Boeing. We're not going to this week. We're actually going to start off with JetBlue and Spirit. That deal is officially dead. Right, the JetBlue Spirit merger is no more. Both airlines announced on Monday that they are calling out the $3.8 billion deal just 8 days after a motion was filed seeking to overturn a court decision that blocked the merger on the grounds that it would harm competition in the airline industry. Ted Christie of Spirit Airlines said, "We are disappointed that we cannot move forward with a deal that would save hundreds of millions for consumers and create a real challenger to the dominant Big Four U.S. airlines. However, we remain confident in our future as a successful independent airline." So, to catch you up on the saga, 2 years ago, Spirit sought to be merged with Frontier, but JetBlue actually outbid Frontier with an unsolicited bid, which we can talk about in another episode. Spirit fought the offer, concluding ironically that the federal regulators would never approve a JetBlue Spirit merger. Eventually, shareholders for Spirit approved JetBlue's offer when it was much higher than the initial and what Frontier was offering. JetBlue wanted to renegotiate their initial price that they offered at $33 a share offer, and Spirit shares plunged to $5.64. They were only ever as high as 15 a share. JetBlue's offer was 33 a share, just a reminder. Both JetBlue and Spirit have already been cutting routes. According to court filings, Spirit has exited 70 routes in 2022 and 40 routes in the first half of 2023. Of course, we won't know the rest of the numbers until a little later, representing more than 20% of its network. What will happen now? We will see. Spirit's $1 billion in debt, and it's very, very hard to get out of debt as a low-cost carrier. Think about it, 19, even if they're charging upwards of $40, $50 plus all the fees and everything else, it's already hard for the mainline airlines to stay in business, and they have full fares plus their fees as well. So it's hard to say. It's hard to be a low-cost airline. We'll see what happens with Spirit. JetBlue, who knows? They're also cutting routes, so it'll be very interesting to see. I know a lot of the move was to get a lot of Spirit's fleet because Spirit has a very new fleet, but hey, deal's done. Deal's done. We'll see what happens next in the coming weeks. I'll be here to report it on Last Week in Aviation. So we'll see what happens. JetBlue Spirit, it's officially done. Another week, more Boeing news. This time, Boeing and Alaska Airlines are both sued. 3 passengers aboard the Alaska Airlines flight where the door plug blew out are now suing the airline and Boeing for $1 billion. That's right, $1 billion. The 3 passengers that filed the lawsuit said they suffered from severe emotional trauma and post-traumatic stress. Boeing also faces another class action lawsuit out by shareholders in late January. Shareholders said that Boeing's statements were false and misleading because they concealed poor quality control on its assembly line and caused its stock price to be inflated. Boeing's share price fell 18.9% from January the 5th to January the 25th, the day after the Federal Aviation Commission barred Boeing from expanding the mass production, as in the MAX program, 737 MAX program production because of safety concerns. The decline wiped out more than $18 billion worth of market value. Also worth mentioning this week, as we're going to talk about United as well, also were missing the bolts that were found missing from the Alaska Airlines MAX 9s. United's MAX 9s were also missing the same thing. So again, we are saying this week, it's week 3 of saying we are on exec firing watch. When will David Calhoun get fired, the CEO of Boeing? We will see. Is this his week? Well, next week we say he has been officially fired. Who knows? Who knows? Next up, what a bad week for United Airlines. Bad week. 5 incidents in 1 week. That's right, folks. 5. Let's get started with all of them. And these are in chronological order. So, Monday, March the 4th, we had 2 incidents. We had a 737 taken off from Houston George Bush in good old Houston, and it suffered a engine failure due to ingesting bubble wrap. That's right, ingesting bubble wrap. And it caused the engine to stall. Well, it went back to Houston, landed. Aircraft's already back in service. They repaired it, all that good jazz. A little bit of a scary experience because of the flame out, but hey, that makes for some pretty crazy video. All right, the next one, a San Francisco bound United flight from Hawaii had to make an emergency landing after engine failure. So they were over the Pacific Ocean, and they were in a 757, and they suffered engine failure just about an hour from mainland California. But still, being over the Pacific and losing an engine is never fun. So there's number 2. Those both happened on Monday. Then fast forward to Thursday, the 7th. A car was crushed in an employee parking lot when a tire, that's right, a tire fell off of a 777 that was taking off going to Osaka. So United Airlines, you know, wow, a tire. I'm not even going to go into that. Okay, so we're going to fast forward to Friday morning, so the very next day. So we got Monday, 2 on Monday, 1 on Thursday, 1 on Friday. This one on Friday, a 737 landed at Houston, George Bush, at 8 a.m., and it rolled into the grass after exiting the runway trying to head for the gate. And the rolled onto the grass statement was United statement. So, look at the picture and tell me what you think about that. All right. So that was number 4. On to number 5. A United flight makes an emergency landing at LAX after a suspected hydraulic failure. That's right, a hydraulic failure. So an A320 took off from San Francisco with about a 110 on board and was headed to Mexico City and had to divert over to LA due to an issue with the aircraft's hydraulics. Never the words you want to hear when you're flying, hey, we're having a hydraulic issue. But they were able to land no problem. But hey, 5 instances last week. United PR department, I feel real bad. They've been having to give statements left and right. But hey, we'll see what happens. That's pretty crazy. 5 in 1 week. Tell me what you think in the comments, but 5 in 1 week. In other news, Delta announces that they're going to follow suit in raising checked bag fees. Delta said the fee for the first and second checked bag is increasing by $5 for most domestic and short-haul international flights. Travelers with Delta perks such as Delta SkyMiles Medallion members and customers in first class will still get their allotment of complimentary checked bags, so that's not a problem. And there's no additional things that are changing. Unlike American, where you couldn't take a Javelin into your checked luggage anymore, Delta will still allow you to take a Javelin. Just FYI. Last but not least, Airbus reveals its 4-seat eVTOL prototype and unveiled its brand new testing center. The company rolled out its City Bus Next Gen prototype, and that coincided with the opening of the City Bus Test Center in a small town between Stuttgart and Munich, Germany. Airbus stated that the center would be dedicated to the various tests of eVTOL systems that was part of the company's ongoing and long-term investments in the Advanced Air Mobility AAM, and the next-gen eVTOL was powered on for the first time, and the brand new facility was unveiled to the public on March the 7th this past week. So the City Bus Next Gen prototype will be based here. It'll undergo its remaining tests and be up for its first flight later on this year. So we will be looking forward to that. And with that, I am just about out of time. But we really appreciate you listening this morning, and we hope you have a great rest of your week. Give us a like, give us a follow. Come check out our channel, Trash Can Network. Come check us out. We will see you next week on Last Week in Aviation. Peace out.